a fad that became popular at one time, and that is to have what we now call a sauna bath. And steam was supposed to open the pores and make the body healthy, and so Grandfather found an ad in the paper, and he bought a kit which included a canvas sort of arrangement which snapped around the neck, and then it opened out by a sort of hoop so that it looked at the knees roughly like a hoop skirt. And then in addition to that, there was a stool, and there was a sort of a sterno stove and a pan, and one set a pan of water on top of the sterno stove under the stool, and pretty quick the water boiled, and one got a real steam bath under their canvas petticoat. Well, nobody had ever thought of the possibility, apparently, that it might get too hot, but it did. And eventually Grandfather got so hot that he jumped up and kicked over the stool and the sterno stove, and the hot water went all over the floor. This was in his bathroom, which was long and very narrow, and he was dancing up and down around that bathroom, I'm told. It was quite a picture, and wasn't quite the dignified character that he usually had the reputation for being. Uncle Lawrence used to tell the story about Grandfather and his hunting technique. Apparently, whatever Grandfather did, he found a book about the subject and read it, and therefore knew the proper procedure. And it was told to him that, by book that is, that one carried one's shotgun or rifle perpendicularly in front of them with both hands on the gun, and that if you ever got to a stone wall, then the gun had to be unloaded, bullets put in the pocket, and the gun sat on the far side of the wall, and then one climbed over the wall. Uncle Lawrence was a long way from being that formal about his hunting, and it was almost more than he could stand to see his father go through that same procedure. But I can just see Grandfather being as proper could be, with that gun right straight in front of him, looking for a grouse to come out of the woods. I don't remember many occasions when I saw my grandfather smile. It may well be because he had a fairly heavy mustache, and I wouldn't recognize it if it did smile. In any case, there certainly was some humor in him from some of the decisions I've heard. And he was always one of the most thoughtful people for his grandchildren that I can imagine. In the back end of 1531, way back in the woods, was a little brook that ran into a peat moss bog between the house and the extreme rear of the property. And as my brother and I were growing up, it apparently occurred to my grandfather that it would be well for us to have a place to skate. And as a result, he had some people come in and dig out an area, quite substantial, a matter of an acre or two, I'd guess, and take the weeds and the trees and the bushes out of it, build a dam for the brook to fill up this area, and we had a delightful skating rink, quote, Reed's Pond, quote. And that was the place during the winter months when the neighborhood gathered. There were other ponds in the area, but none so well cleaned out from year to year, and it was just one of the thoughtful things. He never said anything to anybody about it, nor asked for any recognition. But all of a sudden, there it was. And at one point, at the house in Pocasset, he decided it would be a good idea to plant some blue spruces, and asked my brother and me if we would dig holes to plant them, which we did. And about the time that the last hole was dug by freight from the railroad track, the next day, two brand new Pierce Arrow bicycles arrived. They were Pierce Arrows. I hope you know what Pierce Arrow means, but in any case, they were the best, and they were unsolicited, and like most of the rest of things he did during his life, they just appeared, and so many of the other things that other people do seem to be heralded by some fanfare. His were never done that way. During the time in his life that we know him, he always seemed to have a project